I said, now take out how many of them are 25 to 35-year-old black men. Now, you might have 0.02 of that.
Yeah, if you're a baby mom, your value's in the bin, all of these things, yeah. And like, I was listening to him. I was like, I'm a baby mom.
And this is why I'm happy I'm married.
It's not a lot of men are over 6 feet and make over 6 figures. 2 inches taller than you, but the best man in the entire world.
Men are not attractive anymore. Like, they don't know how to express themselves. They don't know how to communicate.
Y'all really hate men. Now I'm starting to see why the
Like the
baby
last
versus
lady.
man conversation was even a thing in the first place.
When we talk about the younger generation of women saying, well, we want men who make 6 figures and we want this, because they listen to all that social media with this.
Right.
And but I have millennials and younger that work for me, and we had these discussions. And one of the discussions I had when they was like, well, I want a man who makes 6 figures. You know, they're like 25, 28 and things. And I said, okay. I said, pull up labor statistics. I said, there are barely 18% of Americans. Now, mind you, it's like 400 million dollars, right? 18% of Americans that make 6 figures.
Yeah, that's hard to come by.
18%.
That's hard.
18% that make 6 figures. They was like, damn, that's it. But social media have you thinking 100% of black people make it.
Yes, and consistent.
Right, and then I said, okay, now take out how many of them are black people.
And how many are straight?
And then you're going to 6%, barely to 6% black people. I said, now take out how many of them are 25 to 35-year-old black men. Now you might have 0.02 of that, right? I said, so because the rest of them either my age or older and married or divorced or older, period. I said, so now instead of you finding someone your age that is financially fiscally responsible, okay, and y'all can grow together to the 6 figures, you looking for one that's gonna come out the sky. So that's your percentage of athletes in there, and that 6 figures. That's your percentage of black men who went to college for certain things and starting.
What she's touching on, Kevin Samuels spoke about this many years ago. You got to settle for the guy that makes 40, 50,000. He said that over and over and over on the show. You're making that. What's wrong with that? That's why the dating market is where it's at now. These ladies thought things were going to stay afloat. Yeah, things are staying afloat with all of you smashing the same guys, but that's not what you want. You want real relationships. And what's starting to happen? Men are shipping out. Men are finding women from other areas because most of you are delusional. But let me let it cook though.
Starting off the jump. So you got to find one who's financially responsible, mentally responsible, spiritually responsible, and y'all go together. Because the chances of you balling out with a 6-figure dude your age, 25 to 35, is very rare.
Very rare.
White women around here trying to find a bunch of them. Okay, so I'm like, it's 18%. And that include old people.
Yeah.
More young women need to hear that, what you just said, because like I think they have an unrealistic you know view of what
and they put so many
have
unrealistic expectations on themselves too, because they thinking they need to be further than they are. I'm like, you 25 and you got a degree and you working. What this
it's
social
all
media make them think they're supposed to be more.
Yeah, and the degrees, we already know that's not what it's hitting for. I've had consultation with guys and have showed guys the amount of money they can make. I showed them what I made without a degree. And they're like, what? I showed them how I went from nothing to something online. And they're like, huh? You would never figure that can happen. Seriously, the way things are painted in this country and the way things are not pushed to our people. Like I spoke to guys, I said, what I want to start doing is showing what I do, and I'm going to show it on my YouTube channel so other people will want to do it and see it as something they'll look forward to, because our people are behind and many people are doing these different ventures and taking off, and our people being left behind because we don't know or we have nobody to look at to inspire us so we can dream and do it.
I broke up with my daughter's dad. He was horrible.
He would cuss you about it as well.
He was like, you fat. Yeah. I literally tell him all the time, I'm not fat now. Look at me now. But he'll be like, yeah, you fat. Yeah, you did. You died. Oh, it was bad. It was bad. Like, so and I'm laughing about it now, but it wasn't funny.
No, so you broke up with him. Was that the catalyst for you to get healthy?
Yeah, because I was like, no one's come to save you. Do you know when I broke up with him was the time that Kevin Samuels was.
Oh,
Really?
okay. Yeah.
He was really going for it. So he would obviously say things like, oh yeah, if you're a baby mom, your value's in the bin, all of these things, yeah. And like, I was listening to him. I was like, I'm a baby mom. No one's gonna want me. But then he said something, and it stuck with me forever. And I don't know if this is true or not.
Let's hear it.
But I feel like there's some truth in it. He's like, if you're a baby mom, but you're buff, the rules don't apply to you.
No, I love you. I actually do.
Me too.
No, I absolutely love you. Me too. I love you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
Thank you.
Look at him.
Thank you.
But he helped me out.
He didn't save me,
but he helped me out.
They were listening.
If you're buff, the rules don't apply.
Like, when he said that, I said, I need
For
to
real.
get buff.
Now the reason she said buff is because she's from UK, but still, it's a true yes, somewhat. Because a man can't see your kids. Guys, be careful, because there's ladies out there doing this. They're hiding their kids, and you would never know. But she's right. If you are fit, feminine, and friendly, sometimes that rules out all. Right? Except for if your kids are very young. That's when it hurts you. Right? If your kids are very young and you can't do anything, like say if your kids are under the age of 10, right? Because when your kids are over the age of 10, they can watch themselves pretty much. If you train them in the way they should go, they will grow up watching themselves, preparing their own food. I remember I was 10, I'll throw some oodles and noodles in the microwave and I'll be good. Kids can do that. They can watch their cartoons, do their homework, they'll be fine. But she's right. And he's right. And she got some inspiration from that. Congratulations, but it's still hard on single moms out there. I gotta keep it all the way real with her. It's hard to say goodbye. I'm not gonna sing. I'm gonna get into the next one.
It'd be like I make six figures, and the six figures would be 103,837. And I'm no mathematician, but 103,837. That's six figures. Isn't anything over six figures considered six figures until you become seven figures? And a greater question is six figures not a lot anymore? Even the low six figures ain't 103,837 considered a lot of money? Because I never made six figures while I worked a regular job in my entire life. I never reached six figures alone. I thought that was a lot, even if you low six figures. And this is why I'm happy I'm married. Because if I was out there in the dating market making 103,837 and I said I make six figures and somebody be like, oh, you gonna say you make six figures just because you make six figures? I'd be like, but I do. On the gross, maybe probably not on the net, but with benefits, it's a good comp package. And more importantly, look at my shirt. That's really only the reason I made this video. This is all I really wanted to show you. Let's be honest with each other. If you didn't notice with the green screen, you're going to notice now. This is why I wanted. This is all. This is really bad. Go home.
Yeah, so it depends on the area they're living at. If a man's living in New York or LA, especially LA, I went over to LA because it's more convenient and it's a better travel experience flying through LA. But when I flew through, I went to drop my son off. My son stayed out in the Philippines with me for 2 years. I'm happy to get him out here because he was able to see. He's young, he's 15. Girls were giving him attention. If anybody watches my Black Filipino channel, I showed it in his reel. And he loved it. But it was hell. I stayed in a hotel in LA, expensive. I took a Grab to the hotel in LA. I spent $100. Here in the Philippines, I did a comparison from the distance to where it was $100 from the airport to the hotel. It would have costed me $20. Not even, no, I'm wrong. It would have costed me less than that. It would have costed me $5 in the Philippines. $5. compared to 100 is insane. Even in some other states, because I went to Pennsylvania in 2020, much cheaper for the Airbnb, but still around $40. Expensive, not the place to be.
Maybe, just maybe, your husband is 5'7". Because the whole thing, like, oh, dude needs to be over 6 feet and he's got to make over 6 figures.
Push your kings.
Do you understand the statistic of that? Like, do you know I don't even know what the statistic is of that, but it's not a lot of men are over 6 feet and make over 6 figures. Like, your husband might be 2 inches taller than you, but the best man in the entire world. The most caring and protective and loving and generous man. A man who is not afraid to get down on one knee. A man who is not afraid to be a good daddy to some babies. A man who will help you in life. Not a man who is 6'4" and thinks that he is God's gift to because honestly, us on the internet have made them feel like they are special just because they're tall. Because straight up girl, like that was me for a long time. I was like, no, he needs to look like this, needs to be like that. And you want to know what? A lot of those guys have ego. Not that the short guys don't, but let's just put it this way. If something is going to get to a man's head, it's going to get to his head. So don't let a man's height block you from finding your husband.
Yeah, a lot of girls do, and it's fine. Let's take a look at the comments. Look at this. This girl said, if he's 5'7", then it's not my dream husband. And the guy said, and if she's not slim, then she's not my dream wife. Exactly. That's exactly. I mean, guys are on the internet nowadays humbling woman. It's crazy. I love seeing it. It's starting to get a little violent. Let's calm it down some. But no, this needs to happen though. I see some guys going overboard, but this right here is not overboard. Now you're gonna call me a misogynist? Oh, all the smoke. He let her know I'm one of them ones. I'm one of them ones. Oh man. I don't care about height, but he must have money. You lost again. See? Then I won't get married. Stay single. Look what this lady said. She knows. The next lady, truly, she said, my man is 5'6" and he makes almost 100K and is slanging. She said, my man is short and packing and stacking that cash. She's a winner. But I'll tell you one thing though. You can be short. All of that, I want a man 6 feet is nonsense. As long as you're taller than a lady. Hell, even years ago, I got with my son's mother. She was taller than me. I'm talking about, she like 5'10", 5'11". I mean, I'm 5'7", and that's why my son is tall. But I was thinking like that. I said, at least I'm gonna get a tall one. And she should be a supermodel too. Yeah, I pulled him. But the girl said, I love that for you. Yes, because she said, I'm going to give this man a chance. But a lot of it was probably his attitude. The man was confident. So as a man, you got to be confident. I know guys are not approaching anymore. I'm an old man. I guess I missed that part, but I understand.
So, y'all, on this dating journey, you know, I realize sometimes your qualifications gonna go up, down, change all the way around, right? Just especially being more realistic and just trying to date. You know, at first I was like, okay, I only want a man that got 6 figures. So then after a while, I was like, okay, I'm gonna knock it down. At first, it was down to like, okay, the guy gotta make at least $80,000 a year if he don't have no kids, and if he do got kids, he gotta make 6 figures. So then I was trying to be more compromising, and so I was like, okay, I knocked it down all the way to 70,000. Okay, I knocked it down that the guy had to make 70,000 or more if he doesn't have any kids. If he does have,
guys, listen, pay attention. You see, she's starting to be realistic. She's knocking it down. And with the guy, I won't ruin it. Let me play it because she's knocking it down. She's humbling herself Watch what happens.
To have kids, he have to make at least 6 figures or at least 90,000. Now, I want somebody now. Last year, I brought in. I don't talk about how much money I bring in, but last year I brought in a little bit over 80,000 after taxes. So I wanted a man that make more than me, which I feel like that's reasonable as a woman, whatever. But I was talking to my homeboy, and he told me I do not need to settle, and I need to date a man that makes 6 figures. Because he explained to me when he used to be engaged, his fiance made more than him, and I think at the time he was only making 65,000. And he was saying, like, you know, it was very intimidating. With his fiance making more than him, it made him feel some type of way. When they went on vacations, they couldn't go on a lot of vacations, and when they did, they had to split their vacations. They had to split the bills, and I was like, yeah, friend, that's not gonna work for me. Like, if I'm gonna split a vacation, I might as well go on a vacation with my homegirls. Like, no. And he was just saying, being realistic, like the way I live my lifestyle and the way I like to live and do things, and just a man that makes 70,000 is just not gonna work, because after taxes, he probably bringing home what, 60 or 65, something like that, whatever. No, he would bring less than 65. He probably bring like 55, whatever, which is. And after he broke it down, because when he was telling me he made 65, I was like, oh yeah, like, that ain't gonna work. Especially if that's somebody gonna be that ain't gonna work. And so he was like, if I date somebody that's gonna be making 70,000, I'm going to be settling. And I shouldn't have to settle. And a man told me I need to date somebody making 6 figures or very close to it. And
your friend had to be a gay dude. He had to be a gay dude. Had to be. She's in Atlanta somewhere. She got a bunch of gay friends. Seriously, why would you tell a lady that? Even the first lady. Women are getting their knowledge from Kevin Samuels, wisening up. This lady's friend is corrupting her. And you know where this is happening at. In the ghetto. He's telling a black woman who it's harder to find someone outside of her race. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just hard unless you're willing to humble yourself, right? He's saying, no, keep your standards extra high. She had a chance. And what the first lady said, they're the guy who's responsible. That's what you need to look for. Somebody who's investing, right? If a man is working a job, he's making 60-something thousand, and he's putting a bunch of his money in the stock market. All he's doing is paying rent, staying home. Because a lot of guys are doing that right now. They're staying to themselves, paying rent, other bills, other utilities, staying home, investing, stocking, and working on a retirement plan. And a lot of ladies are not giving these guys a chance. Missing out. I'm telling you, missing out, and guys are fine with it. Well, how do you think a man thinks? Say he makes 65,000 a year, right? Like her gay friend is making. He makes 65,000 a year, and he has investments. Maybe he got into a real estate investment group, right? Where they're buying properties, not really to flip them, or they may be flipping properties, but buying properties to rent them out, or get into other business ventures. You know, maybe invested in a company or something. And that's what the stock market is. And just sitting back, retirement plan, 401k looking good, just chilling. And you have no idea. These ladies don't understand some of the men they're leaving sitting on the table. Let me let her finish though.
So the thing is, most black men that make 6 figures, either they're married, in a relationship, or they think they're a unicorn and think they're the prize.
They are.
Because it's not that many black men making 6 figures.
Yeah, because they are the prize.
Men are not attractive anymore. Like, they don't know how to express themselves. They don't know how to communicate effectively. They don't know how to plan date nights. And it's just like, honestly, you should really go and heal your mind, your soul, and your body. Try to get into a relationship or entertain the next best thing. It's always, oh, she's cute, she's cute. She's surface level conversations, nothing deeper than that. And it's like, how to be intellectual and stimulate a woman's mind. That's the only thing that you know. Like, I'm genuinely concerned for this generation. We're cooked.
Men that are super religious tend to be incredibly lustful, and this is why. I made a video about this and it got a lot of traction, but it was just me saying the statement. I didn't really have anything else to back it up other than the experiences that I had in my life. Someone asked, what is the psychology behind this? And I was like, yeah, what is the psychology behind this? Today I'm going to talk about the stages of how someone like this comes about. How does this even happen? I took some notes, so that's why I'm looking down here, just so you're aware. But I just want to preface by saying this is not an attack on religion. This is just a pattern that I have seen in life. And based on the video response, a lot of people have seen the same thing. Even in women sometimes, it's not just men. Okay, it could be whoever. But I feel like when you are super religious, you tend to be, you know, super lustful and just all the other things, all the above. And this is why. So how does little Timmy, who grew up in Sunday school, who was, you know, this good boy, how does he become a man that's incredibly lustful, incredibly abusive, manipulative, controlling, all the above? How does that even happen? So of course it starts young, especially in religion. When they're around this age, they get really harmful advice about just who they're becoming and how they should act in the world. So off the bat, boys are told that they're natural born leaders and that they're here to protect women. And they're also told that thoughts are sinful and dangerous to them. And what they're actually missing is an actual healthy conversation that teaches them about consent and just sexual education in general. Think about it. You teach a little boy that the things that are naturally happening to him, right? The things that he's going to go through in puberty, all of those things, you train him to think that it's evil, and you create this big ball of shame around something that's oh so natural. This creates the perfect storm for what we're talking about. This is where the inner conflict starts happening. Then it gets to their teenage years where they're dealing with absolutely healthy things that are happening within their bodies, but because they've been told that it's evil, they have no outlet. They don't even know how to express it. So it becomes very confusing for them to handle. And usually where do boys go or people go? They go to porn. You know, they start using porn. It's the quickest place you can go have some fun. Nobody's watching. It's a secret. And this is where the secret starts. This is where the objectifying of women starts happening, because now you're just going to this secret place constantly to get your pleasure, and you're not really processing it in a healthy way. This starts the shame cycle. You feel a desire, you act on it in a secret way. You feel a desire, you act on it in a secret way. And this continues. The cycle starts, and it's a scary cycle. This is where it gets a little concerning for us women, because as these boys grow up into men, many of them start taking roles that just give them.
I have to stop her right there, right? Because it's not just the men problem. In the beginning of the video, you said it yourself. Now, I used to struggle with it. I did. Until I learned better, and also until I saw your brain on drugs and your brain on corn. And when I saw that, your brain on corn was more rotted out than your brain on drugs. Why? Because you're hitting that pleasure part of your mind, right? And it's not a real reward. Like you're getting a dopamine hit that's not actual dopamine. You didn't deserve it. Like when you say, if I make this video and it's successful, yeah, that's a good dopamine hit, positive. But there you're receiving negative dopamine hits, and it rots your brain. And who was it created by? You already know who created it. Who wants control of your mind? The great enemy, you heard about it for so long. That's why if you watch corn, you see devil's little angels, you see devil's little, all in there. That's there for a reason. It's really that deep. But for you to take that, because women are struggling with it too. Of course, it's mostly men. And to pit that on men is wild.
Y'all really hate men. Now I'm starting to see why the
like
bear
the last
versus
lady
man conversation was even a thing in the first place. Y'all think these men are these wild, chaotic beasts. They're not humans. They're not the other half of the human race. They don't have feelings and emotions. They don't have a heart. They don't care. They don't have a mind. They just
this species that's infected with rabies and they waiting to jump and kill and destroy every single thing out there. I'm sorry y'all had some bad fathers, ran into some bad friends, had some bad boyfriends. Whatever you encountered, that's not all men. Just like all women don't say stuff like this. Because I would never say that. Because I know there's some good men. This comment will never come out of my mouth. Not all men watch porn. So what do those men do who don't watch it? Are they out killing and doing that to all the women? No. Unfortunately, the narrative that's painted that men are these wild animals is not true. So please stop believing that. So if corn is banned, they'll be just fine.
She said it. I'm happy she said this, right? She is taking up for men, which is rarely done. But she's right. And I saw what it does to the brain. It's wild. I say if you're a young man, leave it alone, right? Work on what you want to do in life as far as getting ahead. And you'll be thankful for it when you receive the reward. And the reward, a lot of times, is money. Look, I know all these ladies talk about is getting money. Even when Kevin Samuels was alive, he talked a lot about high value men. And why was that? Because everything is revolved around money, and you're not doing it to get with someone. You're doing it for yourself. And when you look at it like that, that's when you feel better about making it.
Having high standards is a sign of contingent love. Why would she say she needs a man that has 6 figures, is 6 feet tall, 6-pack abs, he has this type of lifestyle, he got the good relationship with his mama, he got this, he got the house, he got everything I'm looking for, he got the life, he can rescue me? Why would she want all of that if she only cares about you? I'm not earning you.
A woman's love is contingent, and she does have terms and conditions to her love, but so do men.
You can't make this.
Women are the only ones expected to be a ride or a die for a man, but too many women have rode and died and got nothing for it but played. Women absolutely have terms and conditions, and we should. If we haven't learned anything from these recent episodes of the Dear Wifey podcast, that's how humiliating and embarrassing it is when a woman doesn't have any conditions on her love, when it isn't contingent upon certain kinds of treatment from her man. Men like this want you to love them at their lowest, but they can only love you when you're at your best. This whole idea that women only want men who are 6 foot with a 6-pack making 6 figures is a lie and an excuse that men use when they don't have a woman. Oh, she doesn't want me because I'm not 6 foot. No, she doesn't want you because you're mean. Oh, she doesn't want me because I don't make 6 figures and I don't have a 6-pack. No, she doesn't want you because you're misogynistic, because you weaponize your incompetence, because you're sexist, and all you do is listen to red pill content by incel men living in the basement of their parents' homes all day. Women should absolutely have terms and conditions on their love. And when those terms and conditions are violated, that contract should be null and void. You don't have to earn her, and she doesn't have to lower her standards either. There's a male loneliness epidemic, not a female one. Maybe y'all should do what y'all tell women and maybe get a dog.
Men do have requirements. Men's requirements, a woman that, because the lady found out, right? And who's the man that said it? The Godfather himself, Kevin Samuels. And I'm sorry, lady, even you don't fit those requirements. And it's simple. Fit, feminine, and friendly.
Really? I swear to God, we do not. That's a guy thing. Guys, you guys are visual, all right? We are all about the vibe. We're all about the energy, the BDE. You know what I mean? Like, I'll date a guy who's like 5'7" and has no hairline as long as he can like walk into a room and own it. You know what I mean? Like if he trips, he has to like fall down and own the fall. He can't pretend he didn't trip. Do you get what I'm saying? Give me an ugly, confident man. He'll still cheat on me, you know.
Oh, right there. She was doing fine until the end when she said he'll still cheat on me, you know. That right there, what is that saying? How is her mindset going to be when she's with you? He'll still cheat on me? She go, oh, he'll cheat anyway. Yeah, she'll take you. She'll date you. But the nightmare behind it. And men don't want it because more men have realized there's definitely more to life than dealing with a woman like that. Thank y'all for watching. Peace out. See you next video. Coming.